Well, hey y'all, how's it going? I'm sure plenty of times you've seen this beautiful sparkling pool in the background of my videos, and you've thought, oh, that just looks so refreshing and so wonderful. But the one thing that you don't really see is, one, how much work goes into keeping this pool sparkling clean, and also what it looks like when it's not, and that's when it's green and we have to spend a lot of extra money to get it back to the sparkling blue color that you see right now in the background. So I wanted to tell you today the number one thing that will defeat you in your journey to getting your pool from green to clean, especially if you're using liquid chlorine. It seems like more often than not, our pools tend to go green, especially in the hottest parts of the summer or in the winter when we have gotten a little off track, maybe with keeping up with our pool, or right as the season changes when we go from only needing so much chlorine in our pool to needing a lot more chlorine in our pool to handle the sun's rays. So we have been battling, you know, green pools now the whole time that we've lived in this house. We had a pool guy for about a year, but he was very grumpy and he griped all the time, and it just was really uncomfortable for me to pay someone who griped at me all the time. And so we are now about to look for another pool guy, but for about 4 years we've handled it completely on our own. And our pool is about 26,000 gallons of water because it's a diving pool, and you can find pool calculators on the Google. A lot of pool companies and pool stores have calculators out there that you can use for free by kind of using the rough measurements of your pool. And if you're going to be treating your pool, it's very, very important to have is the best approximation you can as to how many gallons you have in your pool, because even the places that you can go like Leslie's, that'll give you a free analysis of your pool water. Well, if you're telling them the wrong amount of water that's in your pool, then your analysis is going to be all messed up. So with that many gallons of water, I've never found that it was that effective for us to use the powdered shock or the powdered chlorine. So the weapon that we've always used to combat a green pool is liquid chlorine. And there's times when I know the exact, like I have the exact formula for how to get my pool clean. I know that it's about 8 boxes, and sometimes worst case scenario, I might have to do 4 more boxes the next day. Now 8 boxes means like 16 gallons of liquid chlorine, and because there's 2 gallons to a box. Now there's been certain times, and this time recently happened to me, because at the beginning, in between the summer and last fall, we had the pool went a little green on us because we had something wrong with the motor. And in that time, I remembered some research I had done about chlorine expiring and how it's really important, especially in the off seasons of pool time, meaning not the summer, really important to pay attention to the expiration dates on liquid chlorine. And once I learned about that, it really gave me a revelation to certain things like why the chlorine at Walmart wasn't as effective as the chlorine that I got at the grocery store. It probably doesn't have anything to do with Walmart specifically. It has to do with whether or not that chlorine has expired. Because you see, liquid chlorine can lose up to 50% of its effectiveness within the first 6 months of sitting on the shelf. And after a year, it loses 90% of its effectiveness. Now, that's important because if I'm buying, you know, in an off season, 1 box of chlorine for me can cost like $9. So if I'm buying 4 boxes, that's like $36. And if it doesn't work, that means I have to just keep buying and keep buying and keep buying. So in the summertime, when it's pool season, in Arizona, it's always pool season because we don't close up our pools. But during quote unquote pool season, you don't have that problem so much as running into expired chlorine the way that you do in an off season. But if you know how to check the expiration date of your chlorine, then you'll never have to worry about that. You'll just be able to find the freshest, the newest chlorine, so you won't have to spend extra money, because that's what happened to us in the last couple weeks. One day we got a little off track and we started getting to the green level. Well, I put in especially for the winter, what should have gotten rid of the green pool didn't. I got another 4 boxes and it didn't. And then all of a sudden it hit me. The reason why it wasn't getting rid of the green pool is because the chlorine was expired. So we always buy the Kemteck Chlorine because we get it at Fry's. And right now, Fry's is a grocery store here in Arizona. So wherever you're at, I don't know if your grocery store sells chlorine. But right now is not the time to be believing that your grocery store is going to have the best rotation of chlorine. You're better suited at a pool store or at like Home Depot or at Lowe's. So at Lowe's, we can get the same Kemteck chlorine, liquid chlorine that we get at Fry's. And this is where, and it's actually a better price too, but we just shop at Fry's so much. So what you're gonna look for on the Kemteck box is this printed on label here, this number. Now there's another number here on the end of the box. I think this is when the box is made, but this has nothing to do with the efficacy or when the chlorine was made. It's all in this number right here. And I'm gonna flip over here in just a second and I'm gonna show you this up close and I'm gonna explain it to you a little bit better. So here's the deal with the code. The first, especially on Kemteck, when Kemteck's liquid chlorine, when you look at this printed code, this means the first 2 numbers represent the year. So this was made in 2019. And the next 3 numbers are not a date, they're the date of the year. So this chlorine was made on the 211th day of 2019. So just knowing that there's 365 days in the year, we know that this got made somewhere in about November or December. You can actually Google what day was the 211th day and it'll tell you exactly what day that was. But with it already being April now, that's 4 months. So this is at least, 2 months back into December. So this chlorine is already almost 6 months plus old, Now if this set out in the heat, this is completely no good. So this is the chlorine that was defeating us, okay? Now the chlorine that helped us is here. So this chlorine was made in 2020 on the 92nd day of the year. And the 92nd day of the year is actually like in the first week of April. So when we got this box of chlorine was literally only about 2 or 3 weeks old. And boom, instantly it made the pool clear and clean. So friends, this is the ticket. The first 2 digits represent whatever year it is, and the next 3 are telling you what day of the actual year. Not the date, not like 12/29, but the 92nd day of the year. And like I said, you can Google that and it'll tell you exactly what day of the year that was for any calendar year. But there's the tip. Okay, so now after that lesson in how to figure out the expiration dates on chlorine, you just have to figure out what kind of chlorine do you use. And once you know that, then you can Google that brand and you'll be able to break down what the code is that for that particular product to be able to isolate. Did you see that hummingbird just nearly part my hair? Anyway, you'll be able to decipher what that printed code means, so you'll be able to see what the date is, and then you just want to try and stay within about 3 months of that date. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful for you. Like I said, especially if you use liquid chlorine, knowing that little way to decipher the code is going to be a complete game changer in terms of saving money, in terms of getting your pool from green to clean, and just keeping your pool nice and pretty. So I hope this is super helpful for you, and let me know down below if you spent tons and tons of money on expired chlorine before. And until next time, I hope this hack was helpful.